Ian Zollinger of the Planner.
Sonny Sanders, Director of Planning and Protective Services.
Anna Manistee, City Planner.
Beth Sweeten, Planning and Protective Services.
The membership too, we have several new faces, so.
Yes, so if you guys want to start here.
Blake Marcus.
Kelly Quigg,
Jack Beacon.
Shannon Hawk,
Gregory Butler.
Michelle Mahoney, Emily Fretwell.
Two new faces, right?
Two. There's supposed to be three. Doug, I thought was coming.
Yeah, Doug Record is the third new member.
Okay.
In addition to Greg and Shane.
Welcome. First meeting. Sorry it has to be like this. Okay, so we have a very short agenda today, so I'm going to ask for a motion to adopt the agenda as printed or recorded.
As printed,
As printed? Printed.
or reordered. There's
I'm
no
sorry.
reason to reorder it.
I'll make a motion. Second.
All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, so we have, I guess we'll start with you, Eric.
Yeah, I'll just do a couple announcements.
Okay.
So yes, as Dale mentioned, it's definitely an odd format for our new members. We're usually over in the council chambers, sitting in the places of the council members. We felt it more proper to move over here where we can spread out a little bit more. Also, as a work session is a little bit better to maybe present something in a hopefully a little bit less of an informal manner. And not only that, for our upcoming meetings, for those of you who have been around longer, the City Council holds budget hearings this time of the year, and those meetings conflict with our Planning and Zoning Commission meetings. So we always get booted out of the council chambers to the smaller conference room across the hall. And that room it's big, but it's not big enough for this size of a group. And so we're planning for the next meeting, the regularly scheduled meeting for August 13th. I have my date right. Thursday, August 13th. We do have a case filed, and so we are planning for that meeting to move forward, and we would be holding it here. We have this room reserved in order to conduct that meeting. And so there is a rezoning application filed, so a formal action that we need to take. And then also we would continue our comprehensive planning discussion items. As Dale mentioned, we have a well, he called it a short agenda because there's not very much on it, but there is a very long presentation that I was planning to give. And so hopefully it'll be interesting for you. It's a lot of maps. There's maps that hopefully you picked up a copy. It should be the same thing that was emailed to you in the packets. I did go ahead and give you a copy of the PowerPoint as well, because it's a very long PowerPoint. If for any reason you want to go back and look at something, you have it there in front of you. Also, if you want to make any notes or questions on it as I go through, you can pencil that in so that when we stop and have a bit of discussion, you'll have something to go on there. And with that, for the new membership and certainly for everyone else, it has been a very long time since we met, and oh my gosh, has the world changed since then. I think this might be the first meeting that's been held after the mayor's proclamation to require face masks at all meetings.
We don't count the electrical board or the finance committee.
Oh, finance committee, okay, so maybe third. Okay.
Did we have a meeting in February? Was that the last one we had?
March.
So we did have one in March.
Yep, just prior to everything really going into lockdown.
Yep.
And so we've been, I would say patiently, but somewhat impatiently waiting to present more comprehensive plan information, continue this process of getting a new comprehensive plan put together for official consideration. Mr. Vice Chair, I mean, with that, I'd be ready to hand it over to Anna to bring you all up to date. Or a little bit of a refresher on where we've been in prior meetings in the earlier part of the year. And then she'll hand it back to me for the presentation on the specific land use item.
You have to have some power. I give you my permission to need one.
Thank you. Okay, so yeah, just to give a little refresher about why we're here and why the work session is taking place for the comprehensive plan. So we decided early on that we wanted to bring in the steering committee, the Planning and Zoning Commission, into every step of our formation of the draft plan. So there's lots of chapters in the comprehensive plan. They cover a lot of different topics. So we decided as we're, my mask is moving all over my face as I'm talking, sorry. As we're focusing on each topic, we present that information to you guys. You determine, is this the right direction? Do we need more research? Yes, this is a good vision for our community. And that's where these themes discussions came about. So in January, we started off with talking about the community engagement results. In 2019, we had the first round of community engagement. I took over those analysis and then we presented it to you. Eric also gave a presentation on the development history of Jefferson City. I'm sorry, this is really distracting me, the mask pulling off my face. And then in February, we talked about housing. Housing was one of the biggest issues discussed during the community engagement results. There was also a neighborhoods analysis during that presentation. In March, we went over the economic development and capital culture and healthy living chapter. And then obviously the lockdown with COVID started and we've taken a pause presenting the theme discussions to you guys. But we thought we were in a good place to jump back into the theme discussions. We're talking about land use today, which is a very big and heavy topic. Eric has a lot of good information for you guys. And then later on at the end of the presentation, we're going to go over what's next, because there's only a few more chapters that we have to go over before we present the draft plan to you. Now I'm going to pass back over to Eric. Any questions about those past meetings? Okay, great.
Whole new world. Okay. I have a very long presentation for you. I'll try to keep it flowing and hopefully keep it a little interesting. It is very geography heavy, meaning that I have a lot of map slides to put in front of you. And I'll try to orient you as to where the map is, you know, as I go through, so you have a good understanding of the area that I'm talking about. In terms of how I plan to go through the presentation, first give you a little bit of the purpose behind what is a future land use map. Second, to give a little bit of history on what has been done here in Jefferson City prior to today. And third, you know, we're planners, so we try to lay out goals, you know, to kind of work toward as we're proceeding with planning. And so laying out some of those general land use goals that we use in order to produce the map. And introduce Mr. Carlos Graham, Council Liaison. Yes, Mr. Graham. We do have 2 new members in attendance and a third one possibly showing up. And then number 4, introduce you not only the old, call them land use tools, designations that are on the maps, the different colors, but also new ones that we're basically proposing for the update. And then go through a series of slides giving detail behind that. So kind of justifying some of the staff level decisions that we've made regarding, in some cases, some specific real estate. And so presenting that to you and seeing, you know, I guess my hope is that that we're moving in the right direction. That the stuff that I present to you is not only a fair presentation of what we've done, but also hopefully you agree with the reasoning and what has been produced. So the purpose of the future land use map. Now I have this long sentence in quotations. It's actually my quote, so it's nothing special. You know, in its most basic form, a city's comprehensive plan serves as its land use plan and provides the legal basis for the zoning code to implement that land use plan and the land use recommendations within it. You know, if you go to an attorney who represents a city, they would tell you that in order to have zoning, you must have a comprehensive plan. It's the legal basis. When you say planning and zoning, the planning side of the equation is the comprehensive plan, and then the zoning side is the zoning code. So many people out in the public think, you know, zoning code, and that's it. But no, that entire document is based on the comprehensive plan, or at least it should be. So a little bit of the history. Up on the screen is the 1996 development plan map. So we are in the process of updating the comprehensive plan, writing a new one. The last comprehensive plan for Jefferson City was adopted in 1996, making it 24 years old. Generally, the life of a comprehensive plan is about 20 years, so we're a little overdue. But that plan, I would say, you know, my experience of working within that document and, you know, specifically the development plan map or the future land use map of that plan is that they put a lot of thought into the specific designations throughout the city. There's also some, how do I put it? Some other documents that are kind of buried in some of our old files in City Hall that lay out some of these decisions in a little bit more detail. And so they did a pretty good job, is I guess what I'm saying. And so we largely have used that as a starting point moving forward, even with what we've produced for you today. But it is, you know, 24 years old, so the first thing we had to do was update it. Now we have maintained the plan over, you know, that map over time. Anytime a change to it is made through an official action of the Planning and Zoning Commission, you know, a lot of times rezonings that come in front of the commission are paired up with what are called comprehensive plan amendments. So actually changing the designation on that map to something different in order to support a rezoning request. And so we've maintained that over time. We have updated the map. I think changed the computer formatting a little bit too. And within the staff report, I think I actually laid out, because I wanted to be very specific on what has been done to that old document. And, you know, in addition to incorporating all the amendments that have been approved through the normal Planning and Zoning Commission processes, we incorporated neighborhood plans, two in particular, the Central East Side Neighborhood Plan and the South Side Neighborhood Plan. Each of those contained a future land use component. They're officially adopted components of the comprehensive plan, so we took that land use component and put it in this map best it could, utilizing the same categories that are within that map. We did a lot of technical edits. This was made in 1996. I'm pretty sure that they did not have parcel GIS layers at that time, so we had to move a lot of the lines to get them to match up with actual property lines and geography. We changed the colors around a little bit. I think the main one is the parks turned from green in the 96 plan to blue in this update. A lot of the multifamily districts, I think, also were various hatched colors like that. And so we gave them solid colors. And we also incorporated a lot of the existing development into this map. A starting point for future land use is often the existing land use. And so where there has been development that wasn't necessarily represented on this map for one reason or another, we've often applied the appropriate designation to it in order to provide a good starting point. I'll be honest, most of that was outside the city limits. This plan does extend beyond the city limits. Municipalities have the authority to do planning outside the boundaries of their corporate limits. They did it in '96, and we would be proposing it here too. There's nothing real mind-bending or revolutionary about what's proposed. In most cases, it's very clear and obvious, and not that much of a deviation from what they did in '96. So, but I'll go over some of them. So, we updated the map. After that, we're working with various land use strategies within the comprehensive plan. So we have a lot of different planning strategies that are being incorporated into the comprehensive plan. Every time Anna presents in front of you, she'll go through a topic, and then at the end of the topic will be some specific goals and objectives and such. And so these are some of the generalized, usually they're a lot longer, but generalized goals and objectives that we used when trying to think about this future land use map. And so there's 4 points here. I'll go through each one of them.